Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Study Abroad in Japan and Korea webinar. My name is Robert Rodriguez, and I will be hosting this webinar for you. And again, welcome, and thanks again for taking the time to join us this morning. And we'll begin by describing who we are. So here at the UCLA International Education Office, we are the one-stop shop for all things study abroad here at UCLA. At our office, we have a team of study abroad advisors and coordinators to connect with in order to discuss the study abroad options that are available and help you with any questions you may have. This session is part of the Global Learning Opportunities Week, which we have several sessions scheduled throughout the week from the 11th through the 15th, which will cover a variety of topics ranging from specific major webinars to financial aid and scholarships. And also, I would like to mention that tomorrow, Wednesday, our office will be tabling outside of Ackerman study abroad information. So please feel free to visit us tomorrow afternoon if you have any questions regarding study abroad opportunities, and we'll be happy to assist you. So here's a quick overview of what we will cover today. So obviously COVID-19 is a big topic that we will cover here. And also we will talk about some refreshers based off of the Study Abroad 101 that you may have attended before this session. And then we'll get into some study abroad programs in Japan and Korea. We'll highlight some program options and some sample programs. And then we have an excellent panel of returnees that will join us, that will talk about their experience abroad. And we'll also have some time for a Q&A. So if you have questions about what the student experience is abroad, then that will be a great opportunity to raise some questions for our panel. Study abroad and COVID-19. For today's session, we primarily want to share that after an 18-month hiatus, as of fall 2021, study abroad programs are running in person once again, and we expect subsequent terms to run barring worsening conditions. If you'd like to learn how programs are running and what safety precautions the UC system is taking, we encourage you to check out our 15-minute presentation on COVID-19 on our Globe webpage that will address this topic in greater detail. Also, the pandemic has left the US State Department with an extensive backlog of passport applications. It is currently taking 4 to 5 months for US citizens to get a passport. We strongly encourage students who can to apply for or renew their passport now or as soon as possible to ensure they have a passport in a timely manner. A few programs will require students to secure a student or visitor visa before departure to enter certain countries. This may require students to have a passport well before their departure date. This information is for US citizens traveling with American passports, but similar delays may be occurring with your nationality's passport processing offices. Now we will do a brief review on the Study Abroad 101. So today's presentation builds on the Study Abroad 101, which we asked participants to view beforehand. We hope you all got a chance to do that. In the 101, we covered in detail topics like the different program types to UCLA students, how credits transfer, cost, and other general topics. Complementing the 101, this session will focus on Japan and Korea. We will highlight specific programs that meet the theme of our session, share some returning advice, and conclude with a Q&A. If you missed the 101 session is available on our Glow page. So you can always visit the page and watch the video. Okay, so now we're into the program types. This is just a few examples of dozens of types that are available. One of them is University Immersion, where students can study at a local university with local students and UC peers, and UCLA faculty-led programs, which are short-term programs as well. And if you're interested in research, internships, that's also available. And there are dozens of other types. Another example, for example, language focused programs. For example, we have language focused programs in Japan for students that are interested in learning Japanese. Narrowing down programs. This feature is brand new, and we added this feature to help students narrow down their search. For example, if you have specific interests in a specific location, then you can use this tool to find the location you're interested in. Or if you have specific housing accommodations, for example, some programs may offer dormitory apartments or a homestay, or some programs may offer dorm only. So if you're looking for a specific housing arrangement, then this is something that you can use to find what your interests are. And you can, and it also offers a series of questions you can use to assess what is the best program for you. Again, this is a brand new feature. And so we recommend, taking a look to see what you can do to narrow down your search to something that you feel is best fit for the program interest that you're looking for. Financial aid, as long as you continue to be eligible, yes, you can receive financial aid to cover the cost of a study abroad program. In addition to financial aid, there are also several scholarships available. There are dozens of scholarships available. So please take some time to visit our webpage, the IO webpage, the UCEAP webpage, to explore some of these scholarship opportunities. And also, I would like to mention that we will have a study abroad financial aid and scholarship webinars this week. So for the schedule and in order to confirm the time to attend, please visit the Glow page for the schedule. When to apply? As early as 9 months before the start of a program. As you know, we have various programs offer various terms, and the deadlines will vary. So please make sure to visit our website, the IEO website, to confirm the deadline in order to help you plan accordingly. Is it competitive? Generally, no. Most are first come, first served. And also on the deadlines page, you will be able to see what programs are having limited number of spots. And I'll get into that as we move along. Can I apply, register now? Yes. For summer, fall EAP programs, you can register now. And I will also highlight other type of programs that are available, which they have a registration that will open a little later in the month of November. Studying abroad in Korea and Japan. These are the program options we have for for Korea. We have Korea University, which is a brand new program. We offer the fall, spring, and year term. These are 3 separate terms, which means that an applicant will need to submit an individual application for a fall program. Or if you're considering the spring, then you can apply for the spring program starting in January. And we also have Seoul Summer at Yonsei. We have Yonsei University, offers fall, spring, and year. And then we have Seoul National, SNU, for fall and spring only. The SNU is also a new program. And you will also see that each of these programs, well, only Korea University, Yonsei, and Seoul National has a limited number of spots that students can secure on a first come, first serve basis. Seoul Summer does not have a limited number of spots, and it's a summer only program. When searching programs, this is what it looks like. When visiting the UCEAP program page and you filter out programs based on location, and if you select Korea, this is what it will look like. You will be able to view each individual box, which will confirm the eligibility requirements, the language prereq, if there's a language prereq, and also the program experience type. Once you click any of these boxes, that's when you will have access to specific information to each of these programs. For example, you'll be able to confirm the type of housing arrangement that's available. You'll be able to confirm the cost of the program, and you will be able to read more information regarding the academic structure of the program. For programs in Japan, we have 11 different programs. Most will have multiple term options. For example, International Christian University will have fall and spring terms available. An example of a program that does not offer multiple terms is, for example, Waseda and Keio. These two programs are year-long options only. Eligibility requirements will vary from program to program, again, consisting of GPA, class level, and language prereq. Only 3 programs out of all of the Japan options will have a language prereq. Again, the deadlines will vary. And limited space programs, Japan is home to many limited space programs, a total of 17. Most are first come, first serve. The only program that is not first come, first serve is the summer STEM program in Osaka and Tokyo. And also these two programs are the only programs that requires a personal statement. So if you're interested in this program, you can take your time up until the application deadline to submit your application, because all students that apply for these 2 programs will be reviewed at the same time, so everyone will have an equal opportunity to secure a spot. For all other programs, it's on a first come, first served basis. So speaking of the application, for Japan programs and for programs in Korea, in addition to the online application, please make sure to submit the questionnaire. The questionnaire is linked within the application instructions section of the UCEAP portal. Many students miss it. And if you miss it, your application will remain incomplete unless you submit the questionnaire and the online application. Once each are submitted, then we will receive a complete application. So please make sure to submit the questionnaire in addition to the online application. When clicking on a program, this is what you will see. To the left of the screen, you'll be able to confirm the dates and eligibility, housing, the cost, how to apply. So basically all the program details. So this is just an example of what you will see when you click one of the individual boxes for a specific program. So definitely I would encourage you to explore each tab. A lot of questions you may have will be answered within those tabs. The same apply for programs in Korea, where you can also view program details to the left side of the screen, which each topic will have its own individual tab. This is a list of the host universities are available in Japan. As mentioned, for career programs, there's a handful of host universities, and Japan offers quite a few. We have Meiji Gakuin, Tohoku, Hitotsubashi, ICU, Joshisha, Osaka, Keio, University of Tokyo, and Waseda. So again, some of these programs offer multiple terms, fall, spring, semester. ICU offers quarter options, and Waseda and Keio are year-long programs only. And we also have a program that's called UCLA Global Internship Program. This is a new program. This is a summer-only program geared towards engineering. So if you're an engineering major and you're interested in internships, this might be a program for you. The internships are for academic credit and are unpaid. Registration for summer of 2022 will open next month on the 18th. A $300 deposit will be required to secure a spot. And again, this is a summer-only program that is available. And also, I would like to plug a summer study abroad GLOW session that we just had earlier this morning that will be available on the GLOW on-demand website. So if you missed the summer-only session, you can always visit our website to watch the session, which will highlight summer programs, which will include the UCLA Global Internships. And also, it will highlight UCLA Summer Travel Study. And right now, this program is currently being developed, and details will be available soon. But I wanted to highlight that this potential opportunity for travel study, registration will open November 18th for this program that will take place in Tokyo that can fulfill the diversity requirement. So again, on our website, you will find a little more details about this program, and additional details will come out at a later time. Academics. So you may be wondering how academics work. So you're not obligated to study abroad in your major. It's obviously an opportunity that's available, but you may also fulfill GEs, minor foreign language requirements, or if you're looking for some professional development, for example, learn the language or participate in an internship or research program. That's an example of professional development. Or if you're looking into graduate school, obviously having research experience is a plus to your application. And we'd also like to add that most programs are not designed around your major. You can expand your search beyond your major. So you can definitely do a combination. For example, for a semester program, you will need a minimum of 4 classes. And if you wish to do a combination of GEs and major requirements, that's something that's definitely available. Now we will highlight a couple of sample programs for UCEAP. So I'm highlighting Yonsei University in South Korea. So you will, at the very top, you will notice the time frame for a fall and spring semester, and also what the year option looks like. So right now, we can only provide a range of months, but much later, and eventually the exact dates will be confirmed by the UCEAP office. And once the exact dates are announced, then you will be contacted via email with that confirmation. Potential credit, major, minor, GE, and language. Internships are available, and volunteer opportunities as well. Here are a few sample subject areas: political science, sociology, econ, anthropology, art history, computer science, communications, mathematics, and psychology. These are just a few samples. There are many more subject areas available. If you visit the UCEAP website, you will have access to viewing the UCEAP course catalog, where you can search subject areas based on program. And then you'll be able to see all of the subjects, all of the courses that are available, and you'll have access to viewing the course description, the number of units that are available for a specific course, and so on. This is an example for Japan, the Global Studies program at Meiji Gakuin University only offers fall and spring semester. And again, you will see the range of dates that are available and the potential credit that you can earn. The housing, this program offers dorm, which is program arranged. So when you see that, that means that all you will need to do when the time comes is to confirm your housing arrangements. So once you confirm that you will plan on accepting the dorm, that means that once you confirm that, the program will make the arrangements for you. Sample subject areas include anthropology, history, econ, international studies, and film and media studies. Again, these are just a few examples of what's available. Now, I would like to introduce two returnees that made the time to join us today, and which I really appreciate taking their time to join us and share their experience abroad. Paris Sumter and Alexander Barbar will be joining us to share their experience, and they will highlight things like housing, the academic structure abroad, and also how they prepare to go abroad and so on. And then we will have a Q&A where you will be able to ask questions to the panel or directly to me. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Paris and Alexander. Starting with Paris, please give them a warm welcome and to this webinar, and we can go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert. Hi, everyone. My name is Paris Sumter, and I studied abroad 2 different times in Japan. And I was also a Japanese major at UCLA, and I finished at the very end of 2018. And I actually finished my undergrad in Japan, which was super different, but super awesome at the same time. So like I said, I studied abroad 2 times. I was a junior transfer in 2016, and I decided I knew I wanted to study abroad right away. So right when I got to UCLA, like the first thing I did was go right to the study abroad office and go to like all the different sessions and everything, because I was like so excited to go to Japan for the first time. So I went to all the different sessions and I got the information, but what really helped me was going onto the website and being able to kind of just read and see exactly what semester would work for me, what programs would work for me, and what schools, all that good stuff. I personally knew I wanted to be in Tokyo, so it was really great that the information on the websites pretty much told you at least like the city or the region. And International Christian University is about, I'd say like 30 minutes from the city. So I was able to go to Tokyo pretty much every weekend of my programs. And the very first program I went on was the summer after I started. So I started fall 2016, and then the following summer, 2017, I did the Japanese language program, which was just a Japanese focused program, like language immersion and all that good stuff, which was great because I wanted to learn Japanese and my major happened to be Japanese as well. But I would say that the majority of the people in the program were not Japanese majors. They were just interested in Japan and maybe wanted to fulfill language requirements or just wanted to be in Japan. So, they just chose a university that was in Tokyo. And the second program, so the reason why I went the first time was because I wanted to kind of get a taste of Japan. Since I had never been overseas, I'd never really been anywhere besides Mexico for like a weekend. So for me, it was definitely a big trip. But I feel like I felt really prepared because through the UCLA International Education Office, there was a few different mixers. So I got to meet so many different people that were also going. And I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be great. Like, you know, I have some friends or at least some different people that I know. So we'll all go together. It won't feel like I'm just going there alone or anything. So that was awesome. So I went the first time and that was 6 weeks. And I remember I actually had a plane ticket scheduled for maybe a few days after the program, but I love Japan so much that I changed my plane ticket and I stayed an extra like 10 or 11 days. And I was like, man, I was like 6 weeks was not enough. But, you know, I wanted to just try first. And then that's why I decided to come again for the following fall, because I wanted to actually be there for a full semester. So it was definitely possible, you know, to study abroad 2 times. I was definitely not expecting to do that. But it was very much possible. You know, I was able to keep going to the office and like get all my questions answered. And the second time, like I said, it was the fall semester. So it was about 2.5 months. And then because it was my very last semester, I had already completed everything the year before. And I actually already walked the stage too, which was very unique. And I had to ask some questions to make sure that I could do that. But it was possible. So I finished my very last credits in Japan. And then after that, I actually decided to stay in Japan. So I actually lived in Japan until December 2019. So for me, it kind of feels like I just got back because when I got back, everything kind of shut down. And I was like, oh no. But, you know, I was there and I ended up switching my visa to a working visa. And I was an English teacher through a small like English conversation school, which was super fun. And, you know, studying abroad through UCLA gave me the opportunity to make connections. And those connections actually helped me find my job literally the week after I graduated. So that was really, really cool and, you know, a coincidence. But in terms of, I would say just the preparation, you know, the dorms and the experience, the first time I lived in dorms and it was very, very smooth. Everything was like super organized. Like I feel like I didn't really have to do anything. I pretty much just signed up, bought my plane ticket, and that was pretty much it. Everything else was just, you know, the information in the emails, and it felt really comfortable because as soon as we got to the university, there was I think it was called like a UC education office or something. So there were students from like Santa Barbara, Berkeley, you know, all the UCs, which was cool because I got to meet a lot of different friends from California. And they were always there. You know, if we ever got confused with something, we could just walk in there and ask them, and everyone spoke English, which was also really, really good. But honestly, my school was international school, so most of the teachers spoke English anyways. But if they hadn't, we always had one place to go to get all of our questions answered. So yeah, first time I did dorm, second time, since I already knew the area, because I studied abroad at the same school twice. So I went right back to ICU because I was like, I love this school. But I knew the area, so I actually chose my own share house apartment. And I stayed in a share house that was, I want to say like 70% Japanese people and then 30% foreigners. So it was really cool because I think there was a few of us Americans and then people from Canada, the UK, Taiwan, Korea, and, you know, a bunch of different places. And I've personally never really met people who like, you know, live in those countries because most people I meet here are from America. But I made so many friends there and it was great because, you know, half of my friends, or I'd say a lot of my friends in the share house only spoke Japanese. So I actually got to practice and I had to because they literally couldn't understand English. So I love that. That made it a really immersive experience that I was ready for. Whereas the first time I wasn't really sure how good my Japanese was going to be, but my Japanese was actually pretty decent, but I wasn't sure the very first time, you know, how well I'd be able to understand it and everything. But the second time around, I was ready. I was like, okay, I want to actually learn it, become as fluent as possible. And the experience for both of them was so much fun. That's why I stayed so long. I wasn't even trying to come back when I came back in 2019. But I had to move back just for different reasons. But I definitely will be back in Japan, and I loved it. And UCLA made it so easy and so, I don't know, just not stressful at all. Like, I think, going by yourself and trying to find a program somehow would be a lot more, I guess, like daunting. But, having the support here and at UCLA, and then also once I got there, made it so easy and so much fun. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Oh, thank you so much, Paris. Really appreciate that.
Of course, no problem.
All right, Alexander, welcome to the panel. It would be great if you could share your experience as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me, Robert. And just hearing Paris's story is bringing so many bells back about my own experience. I went to Japan in fall of 2018, so we actually probably were there around the same time. And I also spent my last year of my time at UCLA abroad. So I did a semester in Japan, and then I did a semester in Ireland, sort of a strange combination that anybody's welcome to ask me about. But similar to Paris, I really did feel that finishing my sort of core academic requirements at my home campus was what I wanted to do. Just when you get, I think, and Robert talked about this a little bit, sometimes the crossover of the credits is a little challenging between what actually counts for your major. And even though my major, as you can see, was global studies, and probably I would have been able to do some crossover credits, I just didn't want to take that chance. So I was able to finish out my core degree requirements and only have elective courses to do in the last year, which I think just took a big weight off my shoulders in being able to really enjoy the program. And you might ask, why did I choose to go to Japan, and why particularly to the Meiji Gakuin program? Well, I think one thing about it is the program within Japan and Korea that is focused on global and international relations. So you get placed in classes where you're actually learning side by side with Japanese students about international issues. And it's so interesting to compare the teaching style there versus in the US, where I was maybe taking some of the exact same type of courses, but just the entire way of discussion and engagement within the classroom was so different. And the one thing I will point out is, compared, I think, to all of the other programs, the university program I went to, the classes were exclusively taught in English. So it would not be a program that I would recommend if you're interested in sort of furthering your Japanese language education. And for me, I had studied Spanish for 8 years, so it was a little bit of a different mindset. I was going in for that international exposure and to be around students from a different country, particularly in Japan, who had that mindset. And they do have a very great Japanese language offering, which I can highly recommend to anybody. But it's not something that I would say the majority of the UC or other international students partake in. Many of us actually had the opportunity to work for the university in sort of some unexpected different capacities. They have the opportunity to work on their PR and marketing team, on their operations team. You can actually help out at the International Student Office. And in my case, myself and a few other students from Berkeley and Santa Barbara got the opportunity actually to support English teaching within the university, which is a really interesting concept if you have no educational teaching background. But you're actually helping to prepare the same students that you're in classes with. So it's a really interesting social dynamic, but something that I really felt was just an incredible experience. I mean, I think similar to Paris, I fell in love with Japan probably instantly. I knew I was going to love it when I applied, but the UC Education Abroad program and also the UCLA office, Robert included, made the process so easy. I would say the hardest thing was, juggling the financial aid and the tuition assistance and getting, some of the transfers that are required for these programs. Like for my program for the dorm housing, you had to do a wire transfer to actually be able to pay for the dorms. It was separate from the education experience, which I know is the case for some of them. So if you've never done a wire transfer before, which was my experience, it was a really interesting process. But when I got off the plane in Japan. So you do have to go. I think somebody asked a question about visas. You do have to go to the consulate. Usually there's a consulate in downtown LA for Japan that you go to, and you get your student visa. And one thing that I will just share as a personal antidote is the reputation about the Japanese people for being very stickler to rules is extremely true, beginning at the consulate. So just make sure that you follow all the instructions, and if they give you a little slip of paper to return with your passport, don't lose the slip of paper. But once you get to the airport in Tokyo or whatever your arrival city is, it's very simple to actually navigate your way to the university. And in my case, we had dorm housing, which was a combination of Japanese and foreign students. And the program did an incredible job of really immersing us in the experience of being a Japanese student. While our classes were in English, we got exposed to the cultural activities. We got taken to sort of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, some of those really important historical sites. In Japan, we had actually a visiting UC professor that year from UC Irvine, who was there and actually helped lead a seminar class for all the UC students. So I really felt, especially in comparison to my other program, that there was a lot that was done by the UC to support building a community within Japan, but not also making that like an exclusive part of the experience. We were really encouraged and buddied up with students within the university, many of which I still keep in contact with today. So if you're looking really for something that's going to push you outside of your comfort zone, this is 100% the programs probably for you. And similar to Paris, I'm happy to answer any questions or anything that you might like to hear. But again, Robert, thanks for having us.
No problem. Thank you for joining us and for making the time to be here. It's really appreciated. And I'm glad you brought up the part about the visa, because much farther away after the application deadline, you will receive instructions on how to secure a visa, what the steps are, and things like that. So that's something that will be provided. So now we'll open it up to questions. Maureen, my colleague here at the IAO office, will read off the questions, and we can go ahead and get started. Let's see. Okay, so I have so question number one: is it possible to obtain a JP student visa? Or do you have to? Okay, so again, the visa steps will be sent to you by the EAP office, and it'll be very detailed. So, and I would recommend to read those instructions very carefully because the steps will vary from person to person. So for example, if you're a US citizen or a Japanese citizen, then the steps may be different. So this is very important steps to confirm. So definitely read it carefully when the time comes. And if you have questions about the visa, even before you receive those instructions, you can reach out to our office. And as we move along, we will provide our office contact information. Okay, okay, so the next question: what program did you work for? This question is for Paris. We have a student wanted to know what program did you work for? Was it JET, Interact, or another English teaching program?
So before I answer the question, there was a few things that I wanted to mention just before I forget. Excuse me. I wanted to say, as far as the classes, because I know Alexander mentioned a little bit about that, and I don't think I said anything about that. But all I was going to say is that the first time I went, my classes were only taught in Japanese, and it was just the Japanese language program. And the second time I went, I was actually able to continue from where I left off. So I think I took Japanese 4 the very first time I was there. And then the following time I came, I was able to continue with Japanese 5. And then my other class was like a education class, and it was taught in English, which was interesting. And the last thing I also wanted to mention was that during the very first program, like Alexander said, they had a lot of events for us, and they took us to a lot of different places in Japan, which was really, really cool because there's certain things that I wouldn't have known to have done in Japan besides maybe like my my own personal list. But they took us to like Kabuki, excuse me. They took us to like Kabuki theater, which was really great. But to answer your question, where did I work for in Japan? I had made a friend who worked for a private institution, and it wasn't JET or anything. It was actually called Sunshine Avenue English. So it's really, really small. It's in Mitaka. It's near the school. I just happened to have a friend that, well, actually the friend, I think they used to work there, but they still had contacts. So that's why it's really good to just meet people, because that friend, it was literally a week after I was about to like walk off the campus, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. My visa is going to expire. So I might have to leave. But, you know, they got me an interview, and then within, I believe my visa was going to expire in like a couple of weeks. And I remember when I actually ended up getting everything settled, it was a few days, and we switched it to my teaching visa. And then I was able to stay I had a whole year to stay. It was until the following, I believe it was like March 2020. So I ended up getting that visa in like February. But yeah, so it was private. That's the answer.
Great, thank you. So we have a couple more questions. This will be the last two questions. You know, in the interest of time, was finding classes hard? How did you know that the classes you wanted would be offered and they would transfer? Do you have to get in contact with a counselor? Finding the classes is not difficult because you have the UCEAP course catalog to help you find courses that will transfer over. So basically what happens is you will meet with your academic counselor to review the classes and to see if it will be accepted for your major or to satisfy GE. And then when you return from your program, that's when you officially petition to have these courses count towards any specific requirements you're looking to fulfill. The next question is, do ICU programs in Japan offer homestay option for lodging? I would recommend the programs have changed here and there. So I would recommend visiting the program page. And that's only because I can't remember off the top of my head what type housing options will be available.
I can remember.
Obviously, housing will be available. But, no, Paris can go ahead and talk about the housing that she had.
Yeah, so the first time I went, they had the dorm options. And as for homestay, I don't know if this is exactly how it is right now, but you'd have to check. But I remember at that time, so this was 2017 and 2018, they didn't exactly set up homestay for us, but I did, email a little bit because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the share house or the dorm. But they didn't set up for you, but they had options. So I, emailed, there was like a contact person in Tokyo at ICU, and they sent me the options for homestay, the companies that they normally recommend to students. And they sent me like the application information and everything. So it's definitely a possibility you can, but it just would be separate. Like it would be, you would have to be in contact with that homestay agency versus when you're with the dorms, ICU and UCLA sets it up all for you. And same with my share house. I personally I just knew the company because I had already been there. It's called Oak House. And I just contacted Oak House myself and, set that up. So as for homestay, at that time, you had to contact, but ICU did have recommendations.
Great. Thank you, Paris. Everyone, if you can sign up and receive study abroad program updates by clicking the QR code to join our newsletter. And again, this webinar will be posted on our webpage for viewing anytime you'd like. And this is our office contact. So you can click on the link for drop-in advising, virtual drop-in advising, and you can also email our office to schedule an appointment with an advisor. And also, please feel free to follow us on our social media accounts listed there: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that concludes the webinar. Thank you for attending. Big thank you to Paris and Alexander for joining us and sharing their experience. We hope that this entire presentation was helpful for you. And again, feel free to begin exploring programs and begin applying. And if any questions come up, again, please feel free to reach us anytime. Thank you so much for joining us.